My name is Scott Tucker. Since 2004, I have traveled the globe in search of adventure, culture, and wildlife. And after producing 100 short documentaries and broadcasting them across the entire U.S., it's finally dawned on me. This must be too good for mainstream media. I don't take vacations. This is not a hobby. We are totally out of the box. All of a sudden, the entire jungle goes silent, and I have no idea what's happened. And then I look straight up above me. The alpha male finds a receptive mate, and they begin fornicating right on top of us. Within seconds, it's over. So listen, I don't want to hear any more complaints from female Homo sapiens.
Okay, I almost got hit. Okay, maybe they're playing games with me.
The silence persists for just a few more moments until all hell breaks loose again. This young male appears to know what's been going on up there and seems to be inspired into his own activities, but he's not ready for prime time. For those of you just joining us, Scott Tucker here, Expedition Earth. I am deep in the jungles of Uganda, tracking chimpanzees in the wild. Check this out. Listen to these chimpanzees. We Homo sapiens share 98% of the identical DNA with these chimpanzees. We truly are close cousins to these primates. We've got to protect them. The habituation process has carried on to provide this opportunity for people to come in and see these chimpanzees. The more people that do this, the more jobs will be created for the Ugandan people. And in turn, the more inspiration they will have to protect the land and the chimpanzees and all the other primates that live in these areas.
As I'm standing here in the middle of a rainforest in Uganda, it begins to occur to me that should we be here? On one hand, if we're not here and we don't develop and excite people that want to come and protect these and pay for the protection, they will certainly be gone. If we do come in, we have to habituate them to human contact, which means they become more and more comfortable with us. Is that a good thing? Since we've destroyed about everything that has come in contact with us. Time will tell. The alpha male has completely transformed this whole area. There's a fight for a mate, more than likely. He's been injured, so he's really not as strong as he normally would be. I get a feeling that's why there's so much competition for the mate. And meanwhile, this young one is just laying on his back about 40 feet above us. Just relaxing. Yeah, what are they doing now?
They are still feeding, and according to the calls, some of them still want to relax, then others want to calm down. So like the one who is calling there, he's almost calming down. He's done with feeding.
Wants to come down.
Finally, we get a glimpse of our first baby.
Come see the baby.
With only about 6 months. These
So where darkness finds them is
chimpanzees are already
and everyone sleeps
extremely
on half a nest.
able-bodied
Apart
climbers.
from mothers with babies do sleep in the same nest. Oh, what's that? With leaves.
But eventually, after all the breeding, feeding, and climbing and yelling, you gotta take a nap. And what better way than to build these little nests out of the leaves and the twigs and the branches? Habitat loss is one of the biggest problems facing the existence of chimpanzees and other primates. We've gotta set aside huge tracts of land where these animals can exist and continue to maintain a healthy population. There are so many chimpanzees in the jungle with us. You can't keep track where they are. Some are above you, in front of you, behind you. You're right in the middle of the pack. And take a look at this guy. It's like a high wire act above us. Perfect balance. Not a problem.
The mating ritual is so fast, literally 5 seconds and it's over. Apparently they mated in between making small little nap nests out of the leaves, the forked branches. We're moving away from that original group and now all of a sudden, chimps are right here. This one's right on the ground.
On the right is one of the old males in this group. He's about 46 years old. And his name is Katongana. Katongana, he has got a pointed finger on his left arm. Left hand is having a pointed finger like this. He was trapped from the joint, so that he got healed, but this finger can't bend anymore. He's stiff like this. And culturally, when someone is quarreling, he points.
One of the other leaders radios Africano and gives us a heads up on another pack just a little bit further ahead.
Even from where we have been, there are more chimps coming down.
Agitation, the drumming.
I don't know. It could have been a tree.
No, it was
All of a sudden, they're down on the ground, walking. Africano is bringing us in close.
finally were tucked right in behind this alpha male. And at this point, I finally came to the place where I questioned how safe this was for just a split second. Check this out.
Tati, give him a space, give him a space.
We got charged. But I was prepared. Africano told us that this might happen and to just stand still. Give him plenty of room to pass. Like all primates, he just wanted to make sure we knew who was the boss.
Am I alive? Alive. Listen. They could be anywhere, right around me. I've hacked in just enough time to put this message to you. You are not living life. You're simply watching television. You're watching me on television. You've been doing it for years. It wasn't me. This is me. And I'm here to tell you, this is not life. You've got to shut the television off. You've got to get out and do things. Live life. This could be the last time they'll ever let this on. So you've got to remember this. Scott Tucker, Expedition Earth. Get out and live life. Shut this off.
What happened?
There is one of the females screaming down in the valley, and she's calling for help. That's why you see every chimp is running towards the valley to help. Sometimes they can even develop war from there in case the male who is beating the female is stronger. So sometimes they do fight from there.
Big jump for a little fella.
It's going and fight. Behind your head.
Just a verbal fight.
They are trying to calm down the situation. No fights. Amongst the same community, they can't develop really a very strong fight that they fight to kill. Maybe when they are exchanging leadership, when they are fighting the current leader and they want to succeed, that's when they fight to kill. But just other fights like for food, for females, for strength, they fight just to challenge, but not to kill. Yeah, but when they find a different group, they fight to kill.
Okay, you can't make this up. In the middle of this brawl, in the background, gunshots. Odds are somebody's trying to scare away elephants. Then a tree crashes. A freaking giant tree crashes. Now we see evidence that that was not my imagination. There's a tree that's fallen right across the road. Africano asked us to wait to check and see if the elephants had cleared. Sure enough, they have.
To also grow some tea.
I'm completely flipped out at this point after spending the entire morning with the chimps, back in the car with Chris, and then we stumble on these amazing baboons. How could two primates that are living side by side be so completely different in not only the behavior, but also in the terrain that they're existing in? These guys are road cruisers, whereas the chimpanzees are just a couple miles back, deep inside the jungle. Baboons are governed by a completely different type of hierarchy. It's a world dominated by the females. They usually live to be anywhere from 20 to 30 years. Groups of up to 50 individuals. And as if everything I saw today was a dream, it all came to a very quiet pause as I entered back into my lodge and peered out into the landscape.
I'm standing in the middle of a tea field. Perhaps one of the only crops that these indigenous people can grow in Uganda, because the chimps won't eat it. And in the background, I can hear the incessant sound of chainsaws. There's got to be 4 or 5 chainsaws all going at once. I don't think it's stopped since this morning.
And finally, I lay hands on my first reptile in Africa. It's a skink. In fact, an African striped skink. These guys are extremely common in southern Africa, all the way over to western Africa, Angola, down to South Africa. They are highly adaptable. This guy was hidden under some debris next to the shack.
We haven't even driven 1 mile, and all of a sudden there is a small troop of baboons. I had no idea the baboons were so close to where we were living.
Looks like a rock quarry.
Hour after hour, mile by mile, we drove through these villages. And you saw smiles, you saw people living their lives day by day. It's as though they have nothing, yet they have everything.
Got a 22-kilometer ride to the cruise site, and it feels like we're driving on a washboard. We're right in the middle of it! This is a tour you won't get anywhere else. You gotta go with Nicholas!
I feel like we just entered into Fort Knox. The security and the checkpoints to get into Queen Elizabeth was like nothing you would see here in the States. Nicholas is trying to get my visa approved, and I all of a sudden spy on these amazing lizards.
Odds are pretty good this is a elephant crossing area. You can see there's dung everywhere, and it's kind of hot right now. They've probably crossed in the morning. They won't come back until the evening. These gigantic herbivores are actually splitting 1,000-year-old cactus. A crater lake. This is unlike what many of us would think when we say the word and hear the word crater. This is a crater from a leftover volcano millions of years ago. This is a crater lake. I'm inside Queen Elizabeth National Park. This is gonna be nuts. We're on our way for a cruise. Hopefully we're gonna get a chance to see hippopotamus. First time!
We barely make it in time to rendezvous with the riverboat. Before I take you any further, I gotta stop and show you where we are on this great big blue marble. Queen Elizabeth National Park is in Uganda, which borders the Democratic Republic of the Congo. I am boarding a riverboat that's going to take me into Kazinga Channel, famous for a place that's loaded with everything from hippos, elephants, species of waterfowl I've never even seen or heard of, not to mention crocodiles. Within minutes, we cross the channel and I am looking at some of the most exotic, wild creatures I've ever seen in my life. Water animals. And then there is my first hippo in the water, submerged, feeding, not paying any attention to us. Then we get out of the wind and we pull into a little cove up against these cliffs, this strange land form. And we realize those cliffs are home to some of the strangest kingfishers I've ever seen in my life. Kingfishers are everywhere, building holes, nests right into the cliffs. These guys are known as pied kingfishers. They're feasting on the fish, as their name suggests, as well as large insects, like dragonflies.
Got that on video. Are you surprised?
And then, before you know it, we're drifting through a pod of about 15 hippopotamus. With the reputation that they have as being the most dangerous animal in Africa, you can understand my apprehension. But never once did they try to lunge at us. Never once did they really even pay much attention to us. They just were bathing, and every now and then they'd go under and do some feeding. You gotta realize, this is not a zoo. These animals are completely on their own, and I am at their mercy. Back in the 60s, this region of Uganda was overrun by the hippo. There were too many, and the land could not support them. Local communities developed a major hippo cull. And at one point, they even attempted to market hippo meat to the local communities. But soon after Uganda developed independence, the entire thing was canned. Finally, we spy on this amazing crocodile, my first African crocodile in the wild. This guy's guarding a carcass, and the birds are getting dangerously close, as if they think they can escape fast enough. Unlike these hippos, who have no need to escape anything, the third largest land mammal on the planet, weighing in up to 3 tons, it's a herbivore that really mainly just feeds at night. During the day, they spend the time in the water, blocking themselves from the sun. And take a look at who else wants to join the hippos. The crocs are reptiles, of course. They are ectothermic. They need to regulate their heat by using shade or the water. They stay out in the sun too long, they're dead. We finally made our way off the riverboat. We're back on land, and wouldn't you know it, I did something I probably shouldn't have.
Hold on, that's a snake. What do we got here? What do we got? Oh, it's a cobra! Cobra? A cobra! Was that a cobra? Was that a cobra?
It was peaceful. If it was bad, it was going to try to retaliate.
That was a cobra.
If it was a hungry man or hungry, it would have reacted back.
Okay, I realize that probably wasn't the smartest thing to do. A cobra could have been a spitting cobra, I don't know. All the years of studying snakes, I see a snake 7 feet long crossing the road. You have to get out! You gotta go investigate!
Oh.
I just saw my first cobra in the wild! Oh! Okay, I got lucky. Yes, I did. My daughter, my 15-year-old daughter, asked me not to make any stupid mistakes.
A little bit of a spoiler alert, I did make it home alive, in spite of a few of the stupid things I did. Well, folks, that just about does it for the second part of what's going to be probably a 6-part series on Africa. One more thing before we go. Check this out. The matriarch.
At the moment they are feeding and they're trying to find their way on how to cross the road and go the other extreme end of the south of the forest.
Finally, a lifelong dream. My first African elephants in the wild. This is Expedition Earth. Stick with us.